we gather in the cosmos bright. Stars and ships take flight tonight, in the void where dreams do play. Soul citizens lead the way. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed. Squadrons call on the horizon. Battles fought, our hearts aren't frightened. In our ships we face the dawn. Soul citizens carry on. Oh, planets spin and light years fly. Boundless space where hopes reside. Motherhood in every star. Soul citizens, here we are. Borders fade in nebula's light. Unknown worlds will chart tonight. Through the galaxy we soar. Endless journeys at our core. Starry roads in endless skies. Soul citizens we rise. Charting courses never lost. Together the verses crossed.
Greetings and welcome to another episode of Soul Citizen. This is episode 288, Hungry or Thirsty, and I'm joined by my co-host, or co-producer rather, SeriousFun. SeriousFun, how are you doing?
I am wonderful. I am coming to you as always from the cockpit of the RSI Zeus, where everyone belongs.
Okay, the Zeus. Well,
And so,
you may change your mind come to sneak peek, but we'll get to that later. How's your week been? What you been up to?
I signed a publishing deal for my book.
Ooh,
So
congratulations.
that's a big deal. That's a big deal. And it's about my time in world football. So my hope is to get it out before and during the World Cup, which is coming to the United States, Mexico, and Canada.
Okay, so
So
you
we're
mean the other
excited about
football, not American football.
No, world football, not gridiron. Right.
All right, just making
So
that
big
clear.
week for that. Yeah. How about yourself?
Yeah, I forgot to introduce myself. I'm Fastcart, also known as FC or Fastcart FC. I'm doing well. My week has been quiet mostly. The new series of Monarch started on Apple TV, so I booked that. Well, my promotion with my Xfinity that I had for 2 years with my ISP current was ending, so I had to switch to a new promotion before my price went up for my internet. So I did downgrade my internet a little bit, but I added Apple TV, Netflix, and Disney Plus and stuff like that. So the prices will increase a little bit, but it may lower on the other end because I'm bundling, like,
Right. You get a lot more in the bundle, right?
right.
Yeah.
So
Okay,
hopefully
good.
that'll work out for me. But other than that, not too much. I reached out to a couple of old friends that I haven't talked to in a while, so that's always good.
That is good. It's good to stay connected. Connection is community and community is health. So that's powerful stuff.
Yep.
The other thing I would say about this moment for you and I, and this will either elevate or lower the quality of the show. You have to decide, but I'm going to make a reference from about 420 years ago. And the reference is playing the mouse in absence of the cat, the tearing havoc, right? and when the cat is away, and that's essentially saying that Griff ain't here. So when
Oh
the
no, he
when the
is.
cat
Here he
is
is.
away, the
There he
mic
is.
shall play. Oh no,
There
he
he is.
is. Oh,
He's in
no.
chat. He's in chat. He's never too far. He's never too far. You hear that,
I'm gonna
Griff?
say when the cat is away, the mic shall play. So let's have fun.
Hey, but I'm still trying to be mindful of the joke ban, so there's that. But for me, for you, the cat is
We still
away.
follow the rules, but yeah.
Oh, rules are made to be broken, right? Right. As Griff like to say, he's here. I don't want to say he's here in spirit because he's actually here in chat, but I mean, the format that he follows is still here. So the first
Yeah.
hour we'll be covering this week in Third Citizen, then we'll take a break, and then we'll get on with the rest of our show. Today's topic is hungry or thirsty. Gamers in general are hungry for a form of media and entertainment that are satisfying and rewarding. And so that's the general idea, but that's for the next hour. But for now, we're getting with the This Week in Star Citizen. So let's get to that real quick.
Yeah. And there was a lot this week. So
Oh boy, there was quite a bit. Like, first of all, NVIDIA called well, I don't want to say they called, but you updating to NVIDIA drivers cause instant crash to desktop. And that's when people use that's when people use Vulkan, as far as I know. I don't know if it's just general direct or just Vulkan, but as far as I know, it's just Vulkan. So that was a hot thing beginning of this week. Did you fall victim to it, or were you okay because you didn't upgrade?
I didn't upgrade. I saw people say something, and I realized I didn't need. I said I'm not going to even bother to have to roll back, and I will not upgrade. So
Yeah, yeah, same for me. Like, I set everything to manual. Like my Windows update, my drivers update, everything's set to manual, just in case stuff like this. Because I don't know if you remember it. You played the Eve Online, right?
a tiny bit,
Okay,
not like you and Griff.
not like me and Griff. Well, Eve Online had a big bug where in the Eve Online game directory they had a file called boot.ini. But Windows also have a file called boot.ini, and one of the patches when you upgrade to the next expansion, the next patch for EVE Online, it overwrote the Windows one instead of overriding the Eve one. So it bricked people's computer.
Wow.
And yeah, there's a whole mess about that. CCP, the developers of EVE Online, was on the hook for repairing people's PC because not everyone had the wherewithal to repair their boot.99. So yeah, if you updated EVE Online and you rebooted, you were cooked. So this is not quite that bad, but yeah, the gaming industry has a I don't want to say history, but precedent of messing up people's games and people's PC.
Well, and we'll
But
talk about that when in terms of the topic today and people jumping on certain opportunities. So we'll get to that.
all right, good enough, good enough. So yeah, I did not update my. I'm still using the old one, the one that I'm still using the one that's still good. The drivers are still good. So I don't know if Nvidia fixed it or well, I think no, yeah, CIG is working on it because they had a hot
They were
fix they went
working
out.
with they were working with NVIDIA on it actually,
Right.
and the message really for our community and for the wider Star Citizen community is, you know, when you do these things and you start crashing the desktop, it can be a lot of different things. So you got to pay attention to a thing like this. I mean, I remember a time when AMD was notorious for really bad drivers, right? And NVIDIA was the one that had the really clean drivers. But now it really can be either ecosystem, and you really have to pay attention to what people are saying about a driver because it's important to update these drivers. But at the same time, or every now and then you get one just like this one, this 595.71
Mm-hmm.
that will mess up everything, and you got to know how to roll back. So
Yeah, and thankfully they put in instructions on how to roll back. I
Yes.
mean, yeah. So I don't want to say it's not hard, but if you follow the steps, you'll be fine.
Yeah.
What else? So yeah, did you update to the current hotfix channel, or are you still on live?
I don't think that it's still. I think the hotfix is now live,
Your
if I
hotfix
remember
is not
correctly.
live. Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. Okay.
But what I tend to do is when I see a hotfix, I tend to rename my live folder hotfix,
Mhm.
test it out, right? If
Mhm.
it's messy, or sometimes the hotfix it makes things
No
worse on
worries.
occasion.
Right.
So I just rename it back to live and play the live build. But usually I'll play the hotfix until the hotfix becomes live, and then I'll rename it live folder. So people need to remember again that with the Delta patcher, you don't have to re-download the whole thing. You can
Right.
change
Right.
your
Right.
folder names.
Right. Back in December, my old PC decided to, break, so I bought a new PC. But with that PC, I made sure I bought a big enough NVMe drive so I can hold the live folder, the PTV folder, the hotfix
Tech,
folder,
tech
the
preview.
the pre-tech preview folder, and then one more. What's the other folder?
Yeah, yeah.
You got five
And
different
just
folders.
live, right? Yeah.
Yeah. So I made sure I have enough space because each one of those is 150 gigs, so that's almost a terabyte by itself. So
Yeah.
yeah, just for one game, mind you.
Right.
All right, so that is the PSA, as people like to say. Yeah. Stay away from current Nvidia drivers. All right, so up next we have this week in Star Citizen. So we're gonna skip the day-to-day stuff, but because we're gonna cover that. But I thought we should go down to the bottom because we haven't really touched on these, like the community MVP,
Hmm.
the ice mining beginner's guide. I haven't looked at it myself, but one day when I start mining, this stuff like this will be helpful. So congrats to Mr. Kraken, for getting an MVP this week. So yeah.
Yeah. I mean, and again, this is in there every week, but it's nice to see that the community side of CIG is paying attention to the type of stuff that can really help players, right? Um, Mr. Kraken's Ice Mining Beginner's Guide is something that I looked at because I have stayed away from a mastery of mining because, and I've heard you talk about this, you want to have that arc of development and experience. You don't want to come in having done everything to its maximum by the
Right.
time the game drops,
Right.
right? And so salvage and mining I've touched but not really dove into, but the ice mining was important for this particular Alliance Age stuff, right? So I did take a look at it, and that was a very good guide. So
Tech Zero. Oh no, no, that was Slackadog. Thank you for gifting the sub to Tech Zero. Thank you, Slackadog, for that.
thank you very
Hey,
much.
I got to turn that down because that was loud in my ear. I almost
Oh,
said
was it?
something else. I'll do that in a bit. Also, we got top images from the community hub, and I thought these were interesting. Hopefully, I can be able to pause on them. Let me see if I can pause. Go to start
Yeah, but
from
even
number
not,
one.
they can rotate while we talk about them.
Okay. Well, yeah. Oh, you don't see the bottom. So the very first Extinguisher Race Cup by
Yeah,
Draw
this
is still
cracked me
doing.
up. I was talking to the community about this one. I was like, if you haven't done this yet, this is going out into EVA and using the fire extinguisher um, to EVA at speed,
Oh. Okay.
right? So you spray out the fire extinguisher and you go the opposite direction, right? And so you've
Mm-hmm.
got to turn your camera to make sure you know where you're going, you don't run into stuff, but it's a lot of fun. And this is it did not surprise me that a race other than had arrived. I didn't think to do it, but it didn't surprise me that the community thought to do it. That's very
It's not
cool.
26 kilometers or anything like that. I'm
Let's
not
hope
sure
not. Yeah,
I'm not sure how long they'll last.
right.
But that's cool though. That's cool.
Yeah,
And
you could fly two 890s out there, right? And put
mm,
them at a certain distance and have people pop out the hangar, the 890, and go. That'd be a lot
mm.
of fun. So I don't know how they did it, but um, that's just again, the community is so innovative. They think of these things. That's hilarious. I'm glad that they elevated that.
And then we have a trip to Pyro with a wine glass and some
Hmm.
beautiful coverage of our Pyro. So that's pretty good. That's from Silver Trap, sorry.
That makes me think 890 jump again. I don't know why, but
Or could yeah, I mean 890 is the most
I got
likely. Or
Origin on the mind after the last sale.
okay. Did you get anything?
No, 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 no.
All right, so yeah, that is a trip to Pyro by Silver Trap. And this is I Love You All by Medic Bear. So this is interesting. Yeah, you got the big heart, followed by
Mhm.
that heart armor, and yeah, there's a big old Care Bear vibe coming from this one. How about you?
Yep, shoot me right in the chest, which it should be
Yeah,
called.
that is from Medic Bear. And finally, we have Looking for More Star Wars by Kavak. I wonder if they're in relation to Havoc, but yeah, Kavak. So yeah, those are pretty good images.
Yeah, and the moth. Um, a lot of people were complaining about certain fixes that it needed, and it looked like CIG has at least gotten some of those in to make the ship a more viable platform. So glad to see that because I really like Argo's design style, Argo's look and feel, Argo Moth, Argo Mole. These are some of the ships that I feel don't even need paints because that construction look is perfect for me. So I love it.
And Tech Joe asked Drake luxury ship win. Never.
Man, keep waiting. Keep waiting.
keep waiting, exactly. All right, so that is This Week in Star Citizen. Up next, we have the PU Monthly Report, February 2026. We're not going to go through the whole thing, but we have like one or two points of interest. Serious one, I'll let you go first. Anything stood out to you?
Well, I have melted and upgraded to the Raylan. So I have the Raylan in weight. Um, and I have been watching some of the content creators talking a bit about how they believed, in previous reports on the Raylan, that we shouldn't expect the Raylan anytime soon. So the fact that not only did it pass white box gate review, not only did it move into gray box, but they have named Alien Week as the expected time that they're going to drop it. Subverts all of that, right? And I realize that content creators are probably just conservative right now, given their long history with CIG. Content creators were sure we weren't going to get Nix when we got it, and we got it. They were sure we weren't going to get the rail until later in the year. It looks like it's going to be Alien Week. Um, I think it's time to start thinking about believing a bit in CIG when they tell us that the tools that they've taken the time to develop are now allowing them to work quicker.
That's a nice
Right.
tie-in to a lot of half of the show too. That should be
Yeah.
a point to bring up again. Yeah, the whaling is one of the interests that I had, but also the whole bee. Um, I
Mm.
have that. I have the original concept price, the $90 Hobie, in my hangar, not buyback, but in my hangar, and I have it up. See shoot or anything to it yet, so it's still there. Been waiting this in 2015. Yeah,
Wow.
the Miss upcoming hauler, the Hobie continued toward its large zero gate review. Tech Art is currently finalizing highly intricate spindle deploy and retract animation. So I
Yeah,
don't.
this one, if I remember correctly, the whole B is deploying. Is that deploying slightly differently than the hull A and hull C? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
the whole A and the whole B can land on planet. The whole C, I'm sorry, fully deployed, it can land on planet. The whole C and everything up and above can only be on planet. I'm not well, the whole C anyway. When it's not expanded, it has to be contracted.
Right. Okay. Okay.
And and the whole B is supposed to be able to land on planet fully fully loaded. So it had four spindles, and even if the bottom spindle is loaded, it should still be able to land. And Thorn 1234000. Thank you for the subscription for 3 months. Appreciate it. Thank you for that.
Very excited to have you. Thank you.
So yeah, that's the hobby. Like I've been waiting for this one for a long time, but it has competition. It has the Raylan, the ironclad, the C2. I have quite a few. I have all of them, and I'm not sure they saying I'll get rid of some, but that's more than enough cargo for me.
Yeah,
But we'll see.
Fatty Stackus in the chat says I'm really interested to see how they resolve the fact that the Raylan isn't designed to carry conventional cargo containers. Yeah, and the prisoner speaks to this a little bit. It's our understanding that that triangle shaped cargo container that was in the concepting of the Raylan is now just going to be the outside grid of
Yeah,
the containers,
right.
but the containers themselves are going to be the standard containers across the verse, right?
So that's to say,
Um,
if you have like a 32 SU cargo box, that box will fit inside the triangle. It's like
yeah,
a square peg in a triangle shaped hole.
yeah,
That,
or the triangles will just end up being a design, sort of design feature, but not a cargo grid feature,
not a
right?
cargo.
So
Yeah, that's fair.
yeah,
That's fair.
we'll have to wait and see. But I'm almost sure I remember them saying that that's
Yeah,
how they
I
were going to
agree.
resolve that.
You're right. And we don't have long to find out because Illinois we could like the first or second week of June. That's right after Invictus. So, you know,
Yeah, and it continues to promote in me questions around, um, like Gatak is Xi'an technology for us as humans.
mm-hmm.
But that doesn't mean over the longest of long term in this game that Xi'an technology for Xi'ans might be something very different, right? So you might find the Xi'an form of the Raylan in Xi'an space with Xi'an flying and Xi'an systems would look very different when they ultimately get to that, right? Um, and that to me would make sense, but that's very much speculation. But I continue to these things continue to get me to think about what will it be like when we go into non-human space where it's mostly some other race,
Mm-hmm.
right? So
I think that's good enough for the February, March, February, month report. Well, I guess what is it? It's March and February or just February? Well,
it's
February.
just
So yeah,
February,
just
yeah.
February. Yeah, the last month they did December and January. So yeah, that's it. Okay. All right. So up next we have, oh yeah, March 2026 subscriber promotion. This month, sorry. They have the paramedical, medical stuff. Apple 4.7 is live in PU later this month, and with it, cracking new locations and missions around the Linux system. To help you survive the subterranean challenges, this month's Flare and Vehicle of the Month are suitably medically themed. So first off, for Centurion level subscribers, they get the medical device. It's blue, almost like a Microtech look.
It's
And
cyan. That's why they call it cyanosis.
oh, okay. Cyanosis, okay.
Yeah.
And then you have the Cool Life Field Medical Kit. This is our first time seeing this, as far as I know. But medical emergencies can happen anytime, any place. We prepare the field medical kit from Cool Life, which provides convenient and portable storage for a medical device, Panacea Medjo refills, and additional medical injectors. Kit comes pre-stocked with refills and injectors. And imperative to get these. Then also you get the set, which subscribers can buy altogether. So
Yeah.
does this interest you?
Oh, I'm a subscriber, so I get this stuff. And in this particular one, I found that this one was a little bit more useful than some of the stuff we get for these subscriber months. I'm very interested in these. It's the paradises of our community, the Admiral Kusanagis of our community that tend to role play as medics
Mm-hmm.
when we go out and play as group. And so I'm very interested in how they see the use of this stuff. But for me, it seems like an extension of um, the Apollo and some of these medical ships, and this kit fits in between what humans can carry on their hip and a ship, like almost like a staging thing. Like so, you could come out of your ship. Maybe you have to keep your ship further away, but you could bring this kit on site, and then you have a little medical base or a little medical location
Mm.
for additional medical support. So my expectation is this is their first cut at that. That there'll be different little medical kits that can be kitted out in different ways, but I'm excited to see them get started on that.
Yeah, I forgot to mention if you would like to receive this flare, you haven't as part of your subscription, you have until March 10th, 8 p.m. UTC in order to subscribe, and then you'll get it like a day or two later. So you have time. If you're not subscribing now, you can still get the as part of your subscription. Quick question. So you think it's worth setting aside backpack space for a kit like this
For the medic who's
for the
role
medic?
playing, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure. It depend on what you're doing. If I'm going to a bunker, I probably would not bring the kit and take backpack space that I could use to acquire loot. But if you're splitting loot and splitting mission dollars, and somebody has a medic role, I'd like to see them fully kitted out with all the medical devices available to them, right? So
And also, it's interesting. Like, if you lose this, well, it's a subscriber flare, so there should be a way to get it back. But I'm wondering how long
yeah,
that
but
takes. Or
not right now. Like you have to wait for the new patch if
you
you
gotta
lose it
wait till
right
the new
now.
patch if you lose it. Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
dang.
Hmm.
Dang. So, and also like when when like Death of a Space Person actually comes online and stuff like that, there may be a kiosk or you might have to pay some money in order to get this stuff back, the flares and items and stuff like that actually cost money. I wonder how long, like, I wonder if there'd be a claim timer or something like that on them, and how long would that would take. It shouldn't be that bad for something like this, but for other stuff, we'll have to see.
No,
But
and again, I think ultimately these will be available in game for in game purchase, right?
right,
So then the question becomes how does somebody who's focused on medical gameplay, how many of these do they acquire? When do they use them? Has CIG provided the gameplay on the one hand to ensure their use in particular context, and on the other hand, are players innovative and curious enough to figure out the best use for these things? So
I agree.
we'll see how that goes.
And Resto Squared providing some good information in chat. The med kit
Yeah.
is $4 in the sub store. How much is the device by itself, Resto Squared? And Resto Squared also said just take up 28% in a large backpack. So 28%, that's over a quarter. That's quite a bit of backpack space. Right.
Yeah, that's a big deal. And is that we're asking Risto Square to do a lot of work. He ain't on the show, or she ain't on the show. But but is that the same in the new inventory system or not? I'd be interested to see that as well, because what we've discovered um in the new inventory system are, you can't, for example, you can no longer put a gun, a primary weapon in your backpack.
Yeah, I heard about
That's
that.
over.
I
Yeah,
well,
so
that's what it was in the last patch. Maybe they'll change it. We'll
yeah,
have to
maybe.
see. But yeah, it's
Yeah.
currently you can't do that. And Rooster Squared, thank you for putting in the work. The med gun is also $4, so $8
Yeah.
altogether. And not altogether, but I don't know what the combo part. It probably give you like a 750. That's my guess, or $7. What is the combination of the two cars? The set.
Yeah, I don't know.
Also, we have the vehicles of the month. That'll be at the bottom. So let me get down
Hmm.
here. The vehicles of the month are the Ursa Medevac for $60 and 12 months of insurance, and the Apollo Medevac for $290 and 24 months of insurance. So, yeah, like I said, they're going all in with the medical stuff.
Yeah, I
720
love.
for the combo.
Yeah, that's what he says
I
in the
was close.
chat.
I was close. It said 750. Thank you for that. Appreciate it.
I love the Apollo medevac as a ship. I love kitting mine out with tier 3 on one side, tier 1 on the other, and I think that's a really really enjoyable ship um, to bring to um, longer sessions, particularly with small groups.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I just really enjoy flying that ship. So can't recommend that enough. Of course, it's RSI, so it doesn't surprise me that it's
Well, they're both
enjoyable.
RSI. Oh, right?
Yeah, yeah, I put the medevac in my constellation and take up my cargo space with the medevac. Um, uh, I'm looking forward to Planet Tech V5. where it's easier to drive,
Oh
particularly
my
on cars
God,
like
yes.
Thurston. You know, yeah,
you and all the racers in the universe.
yeah. But those are some good vehicles if you haven't
Yeah.
considered them before. So
It's not medical related, but I did get a Hermes. I upgraded my one of my ships to a Hermes, and I'm enjoying it. It took me a little while to get used to. Like I'm used to the raft because I used it extensively during the safe stancing event.
mm,
So the tractor beam and everything got it. Took me a little bit to get used to because from the raft I load front to back, but in the Hermes like, I load the side, and then I do like back to front mostly
okay, yeah,
on the side. So
yeah.
that helps for me. Other people may do their own version of Tetris when it comes to that, but
No,
yeah, that's
I'm very much back to front with the Hermes as well. When I had it, I don't currently own it,
hmm
but I also enjoyed that ship too. So I'm glad you're enjoying it.
cool. But like I said, I have quite a few cargo ships, so when the whaling comes out, I'm gonna have to make some decisions. All right, so that is subscriber promotions. Up next, we have yes, Sean Tracy, and the Q&A tech talk with Sean Tracy. I'm just gonna have this running in the background while he talks, but so yeah, he have a couple of points that, beside a big point that we get to, you have a couple of points that interest you from this episode.
I just enjoyed the having somebody who has been with the project for a long time, so brings that context to the table, but is still in the trenches with developers, uh, and is doing the work that we talked a little bit about earlier, which is this idea of, do developers have the tools to allow them to do the work at the quality that Star Citizen has shown, and to do it quicker and faster and more iteratively. So, to see Sean continue to be at the forefront of that work. um, we got to know him a bit out at Quantum Vegas 2955. And he talked a little bit about this stuff there. He talked about his history of development, in terms of building stuff for games, being involved with CryEngine and everything else. And so this for me was an extension of that conversation. So I found it really useful.
Cool. For me, one of the things to talk about was adding more voids and simplistic creatures and critters into the verse. So looking forward to seeing more of those critters and creatures. Hopefully, nothing too scary. Like
Or
don't
something very scary. Don't just listen to Fastcart on that. We could be scared. Scare the hell out of us. I'm okay with that too.
speak for yourself. I am appreciative of joining PO for that one movie called Nope, because that describes me to a T. That movie is just made for me. Nope. You have another point of interest?
For this particular conversation.
Yeah, like in this episode.
Uh,
No?
I one of the things that we were able to um, get out of Sean at Quantum was his take on VR. So the conversation on VR, clearly was happening behind the scenes at CIG, but the first time in a long time that anybody talked about it was at Quantum, where Sean said, we're looking at it. There are some challenges, um, and then experimental VR by Sylvan, and Sean gave all credit to Sylvan
Yeah.
for that work. Dropped, and actually is being refined in the current patch as well. And uh, you know, his commitment, and CIG's commitment to VR, um, it remains clear. But Sean, in this particular conversation, reminded us that they do not have a dedicated VR team, and ultimately, um, it's going to be an interesting tension there, right? Because on the one hand, it is a niche of a niche, right?
Yeah,
like
right.
like space gaming is a niche, and then VR is a niche of that. And so I get that you can't dedicate a whole bunch of folks to it.
Hmm.
But on the other hand, to be the reference VR game, particularly the reference seated VR game that everybody turns to and everybody uses to demonstrate the power of VR is important. For years, Elite Dangerous was a reference VR experience, right? People would sit people down and go, "You want to understand what VR is? Let me put this on you," and they would show them Elite Dangerous. All right, so I don't think you can underestimate the power of being the reference VR experience. Particularly, we're at a moment where micro OLED um, technologies are moving forward, and we're seeing more advances in field of view and in the lightness of the headsets. And this is the moment to be, in my view, to be seen as the thing that people show other people when they show what VR does, right? And so I would like them to dedicate Sylvan and dedicate a team um, to this. But it was good to hear Sean. It didn't sound like CIG was getting in the way of
Right, right,
Sylvan
right.
and that work. So
Yeah, I was surprised when Sean said they didn't have a dedicated VR team. I'm paraphrasing, but that's basically what he said. I'm
yeah,
like, as much popularity, even though it's niche of a niche of VR, I'm surprised they haven't found formed a team yet. But maybe that's coming soon, or maybe we don't know. But yeah,
yeah. I mean,
that
these
caught
are
my
hot
attention.
and these are hot space opinions. I don't think CIG is doing anything wrong, and I think we over the long term we're going to see a lot there. And for me, it'll be interesting when they make that choice. Right, I
Right.
just don't want them to miss any moments. Right,
I
where
mean, Squadron 42 is supposed to be coming out this year, and they don't have a. Well, okay, maybe
it better come out this year.
nah, I'm saying like maybe they don't have a dedicated VR team for Star Citizen. Maybe
Right.
I have to go back and rewatch it, but it sounds like they don't have a dedicated team at all. Or am I misreading that? Do you remember?
Well, somebody has to be. I mean, if you're combining, or in hearing what you're saying, I would combine the Sean Tracy talk that we link here in the chat to what Chris Roberts said at Atmo in
That's true.
Australia,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. Okay.
Where Chris Roberts made it clear that Squadron 42 was going to have, and I'm paraphrasing his words, but a fully functional implementation of VR.
Right.
Um, and everybody had whatever words he used, people have used have run in different directions with what
Right.
those words mean in nuance. Um, but somebody has to be dedicated to doing that for a retail game, right?
Yeah,
So
so thank you for that clarification. Like, probably they don't have a dedicated VR team for Star Citizen, but once Squadron
right.
42 is at a point where they can move over the team from Squadron 42 to Star Citizen, they'll have a team for VR. So that's
Yeah,
probably
we'll
one way
see.
of looking at it. But yeah, we'll see. Up for me, another point. Well, I'll fast forward real quick, but I should have put this in my notes somewhere. But Disco Lando or Jet Huckabee pointed out this hoodie or this jacket that is on the merchandise store, and I was like, oh, okay, that's cool, that's interesting. How much is it? I went back to work and pulled it up. You can't see it on the screen, but so I'll scroll down. But that thing is $120, and it's $10 shipping and handling. Oh,
Yeah, it
you
ain't
got a
that nice,
raid.
right?
You got a raid. Who is it from?
Levanti fan.
Levanti fan, 21 viewers. Thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. We're covering this week in Star Citizen. So right now we're talking about the Sean Tracy SCL that was on Friday, and I'm talking about
Levanti
this.
fan says in the chat, man, the one time that I'm off from work, because I keep trying to get him on the show. But he works on Sundays most of the
Okay.
time. So, but no, we're thankful that you did the raid. We really appreciate you.
Thank you for the raid. Appreciate it. And welcome
And at
later.
some point, we'll get you on, brother. Don't worry about it.
Yep. So yeah, I mean it looked nice, but I'm not sure it looked $120 nice.
Yeah, and I think it's a little bit for me. It's a little bit odd that the Vandal have like a brand that you can put
Mm,
on the front,
mm,
right? Like that's their brand. I do like the Vandal lettering on the sleeves and the way they did that. I like that a lot,
mm.
actually. I have a Star Citizen hoodie where it's in, I think it's Gion. I can't remember if it's Gion or Banu, but the lettering is on there and it's in white.
Okay.
I like that black, subtle black look where you have to like
Mm-hmm.
look and see what it says. But that Vandal thing right there, I'm not a fan of that. So yeah,
Okay.
but $120 for that is that's showing your commitment. That's showing your commitment to the project right there.
No
I don't know
kidding.
about that.
That's
Yeah.
showing your commitment to the project and showing your commitment to the Vandal. Like on Operation Pitchfork, you're working with the other side.
Hmm.
Yeah. So
And
yeah.
Fatty Stacker says that's 175 Australian dollars, not including shipping.
Oh man, dang.
Yeah,
Okay, thank you for that.
yeah.
But yeah, the community got into it. What they picked up from Sean Tracy is this quote. Hopefully I didn't mute it, but I'll play it real quick. Nope, I didn't mute it. Restart.
One of the things I like to say a lot of the times is that people like to complain about editor stability, is what I hear a lot. I'm like, hey, do you play the client? They're like, no, I'm always running in the editor. I'm like, well, listen, the client's running in the editor. So the editor is no more stable than the game. So please make the game stable, and that editor gets more stable. It's things like that. Like it's just the reality of the work that we do. That the tool that it comes into gets the blame. Copy build, the one I talked about on the onset, exact same thing. Copy build's slow today. Copy build's not working. Copy build this, copy build that, and it's never copy build. It's always a network problem, build store issue, patcher bug. So honestly, it's a tough job. It's a tough job. It's a tough job to take that kind of stuff, but it's also incredibly rewarding because I was just doing some work today. I even said to the guy, just tell me it works. I need that dopamine hit. And realizing that.
Yeah. So it's scrolling down. Sean Tracy and Elfian from CIG talked about it giving him his dopamine hit, and evidently he got it. So that was a couple of days ago. So he got that dopamine hit. Good to hear about that. But yeah, that's behind the scenes for the development of Cloud Imperium, or maybe like most other game development also. If you make the game more stable, you make the tool more stable.
Yeah, and I like that he was not afraid to give us a little bit of that inside reality where, this is also work, right? And people have ups and downs and they have frustrations, right? And he's like, "Oh, you're frustrated with this? Why don't you work on this?" Right? Like, so you're dealing with a group of human beings, right? And that's always the work, no matter what type of organization it is, whether it is a nonprofit organization, a for-profit organization, a governance body, a charity. I don't care what it is. It's made up of human beings, right? And I like that Sean was that open about, hey, there are moments where I'm getting the dopamine hit and we solve this thing, and there are other moments where I'm like, stop complaining, make the game better, and make your experience better, right? Like,
Mm.
that felt very real, and that felt like I recognize that in leadership, right? When I'm talking to other leaders, the folks that can sort of surf that truth in ways that continue to empower everybody involved are the folks that are good leaders. So I appreciated him sharing that.
Yeah, Jared always said that the conversations that the community have, the developers have, also behind the scenes. So this feels like one of those moments that the developers and the community are on the same page. Make the game more stable, cause make everything else more stable.
Right.
So
Yeah.
yeah, that was good to hear. That was cute. I like that part. All right, and now we get to the main event. I don't want to say that. Well, no, I got one more thing to say. If you it's for hour long, so if you want a 4 minute review or a summary of it, you can go to the Nubifiers page and get that. So yeah, that there's that. No, now the main event. Someone we know, or someone I know, someone you know intimately, I would guess, posted a thread on Spectrum. You want to give us some some behind the scenes about that?
Ah, so uh, I was watching Space Tomato as he was watching um, uh, this Inside Star Citizen with Sean Tracy, the Q&A Tech Talk, and he paused at a certain point and said, "Yeah, I just love to ask him a variety of questions," and he fired off a series of questions. And I tried to capture that and go to the Ask the Devs channel on Spectrum and ask Sean those questions. Ask him to look at those questions. Um, and so this is that post. And to Sean's credit, he responded, and he responded in detail
Yeah.
about those questions.
So
So
let me show what Space Tomato said, and then we'll go back to Sean's response. Hopefully, I got the timestamp still correct. No, I'm a little bit ahead. Okay, so here we go. Unmute. There we go.
Just in there.
Crap. No, I think I actually would really love to sit down and talk to Sean Tracy, because one of the most interesting questions is how all these tools work. Like, I keep bringing up Rastar. That's because Rastar was worked on as this tool to make points of interest. But now it seems maybe like it's been delineated or become legacy because Starkitect is now supposed to be working on points of interest. I don't know. Do we know? We don't. What happened to Hex? Is that still being worked on so that the reputation can run through Hex and that can link up with the simulations in StarSim and Quanta? Are they still using the Odin editor for that? Is Houdini still working well through Mighty Bridge so that they can very easily bring in devs from other parts of the industry and not have to teach them how this game is working? I do hope that they answer some of those questions, but I'm just now realizing like there's a lot of stuff that Sean Tracy could answer. That'd be very useful. And the way this interview is going, I don't know if that stuff's going to come up.
Yeah, we're gonna pause there, and then we're gonna go back to Sean Tracy.
that's about where I paused too.
Yeah. So, you want to read it for me, or?
Yeah, I can read it. He says, "Hi, SeriousFun. Great to hear from you and glad you watched. Yeah, I would have loved to have a few more hours to talk deeper on some of the tool chains and other aspects of my work since we covered a very small percentage. I don't usually get on the forums here, but as you were so kind to me in person, happy to share what I can. See, that's what kindness will get you. Just treat people right and they respond." But he said, "At Space Tomato, I watched the section of the video linked by SeriousFun and happy to give some info on Rastar. Rastar indeed was the stepping stone to what has become Starkitect. Rastar suffered a bit of a problem on the onset, which was a small identity crisis. It wasn't created by a tools team to start. Although it started as a development tool, it quickly shifted to potentially being player-facing. And those who remember those videos about Rastar, you could feel that connotation in it. It was like, oh, this feels a little bit like a placement tool for players as opposed to a placement tool for devs." But he says it quickly shifted to potentially being player facing for things in the future. Development facing tools have totally different intentions than a player facing tool would, in my opinion. Although this is just my opinion, that was part of why it slowed down. Some lessons learned from it helped, though, and much of the tech has made its way into Starkitect. So without diving too deep into it, Rastar has been used to get us as far as we are and is used to place some locations, but most, if not all, of the development-facing side has moved to Starkitect, which incidentally has been made explicitly with the updated Genesis model in mind and is more fit for purpose. When it comes to Houdini and Mighty Bridge, he said it still works. Great work from the MTL or Montreal Tools Group, honestly. It's quite sophisticated and still used in some regards to import Mighty Bridge tools and live connect the editor to Houdini. And then he gives some tools and cases, cover tools, ledge tools, the cable generator, the tarp generator, the pile generator, and the spline instancer tool, or a tool to place different objects on a spline with different modifiers. He finishes by saying, "I love telling you guys about how we are putting this stuff together, and it's changing more than you'd think it does based on technology, expectations, and sometimes crazy ideas. So totally understand the questions and hope that sheds a bit of light on the areas you wanted more information on." And essentially I said, "Powerful. Thanks for taking the time to amplify." Continue good luck to you and all the devs on the project. And we're excited to engage with the outcomes and with the tools and tools as processes, as he talks about on the show with Jared on this journey. And thanks again. So that was good stuff.
That was good work. So you use your power or platform for good. I use mine to make
You
jokes.
use yours for jokes.
I use
That's
mine
all.
for jokes.
That's still a form of good, depending on the joke. Yeah.
Okay, all right, fair enough. Before I forget, fellow cabinet guy, thank you for the follow. And Doc542, thank you for the resubscription with Prime. The Prime, you subscribed for 3 months. Appreciate it. Thank you both for that.
Thank you very much.
And also, we had, because of that, I'm not going to play this thing. I'm just going to play it in the background. So, yeah. Space Tomato went ahead and thanked you for posting the question. And someone in chat said that he blushed. Let me see if we can find it real quick.
Yeah, that's
Yeah,
funny.
Dirty Jen said you made Space Tomato blush. So, yeah, he got to cover that. And he was very appreciative. So, good job. That's one thing I love about this community. We raise people up and help each other. So that was pretty good.
Very much so. I very much enjoy that about our community as well.
All right. So yeah, that was the We Ask CIG delivered. So yeah, cool. Up next we have. Well, is there anything else we wanted to cover, or we can move on?
No, I think we can move on.
All right.
Yeah.
All right. So up next we have. I almost copy and pasted myself because of habit, but this is our sneak peek. I don't have the text in the XSplit, but the text is it's almost time to celebrate a legacy. Almost time to celebrate a legacy. What are your thoughts?
Well, as you can see, this is an RSI experience. So my thoughts immediately are positive and warm and comforting.
Let me interrupt real quick. It's an RSI experience, but this look kind of old and busted. You see how the dirt and grime and all
well,
that
that's
stuff.
somebody got to keep their seat clean, but that is a leather seat. It looks like with some speakers in the headrest.
I would hate to turn on black light on this thing, but go ahead.
um, this looks like a new variant of an Aurora Mark II, a more luxury or sporting variant. Again, because you're seeing like the color match in the background, the seats to the design features in the wall there. Again, this looks like leather or some elevated material to sit on. And so for me, this is, when they talk about getting another 25 to 27 ships this year, you knew that we were going to get some variants,
Mm-hmm.
right? And this feels like this is what that is. This is like taking the Mark II and going, well, we don't have like a how the 85X from Origin would be expressed through the Aurora brand and RSI, So here we go.
So yes, we talked about this on Friday in our Discord chat on Soul Citizen, and people are noticing that it had this fire extinguisher. Sorry, fire extinguisher on the right over here. You can't see my mouth, but also had this round door on the left side, on the right side, and you can see a bit of a round door on the left side too. So it's definitely an Aurora. But so you talk about Mark II Auroras. We already knew this was on the way. But how do you feel about potentially releasing a Mark II Aurora so soon after releasing a gold standard pass on Mark One?
Oh, I don't have a problem with that. I feel like when it comes to ships, let's move onward and upward. But I also recognize that as an RSI fan, right, like to be really serious about it, I've been eating well, right?
Yeah, you have. You
And
have.
if you're a fan of Consolidated Outland, or if you're a fan of Origin, right, then you're not eating as well. And
Mhm.
so my hope is not only that there's not only learning within the brand, but there's meta learning for the developers, right? So whatever they learn from They've got these RSI assets that go, and they talk about new RSI and old RSI, and new RSI sort of began with the Zeus, and that has informed their ability to develop all these RSI vehicles and variants. That that learning of how to do that within that brand ends up applying to how quickly they can iterate on other brands. So how they learn how to do that with RSI informs what they do with Drake, informs what they do with Origin, informs what they do with Aegis and Anvil, right? So and that everybody who has a favorite brand gets to eat well, right? So I recognize that, and as an RSI fan, I'm eating well. But what that means is, over the long term, I'm going to eat less and less
Yeah,
because
well, eventually,
right,
yeah.
they'll be done with RSI and on to other folks.
It's like a big wheel, and right now the wheel is on the other side, but eventually it rotates.
Yeah, the wheel will turn.
The wheel
Correct.
will turn. Thank you.
Yeah.
So that was the first question. The other question is, I'm coming at it from a different angle. Like, when they introduced the Mark II Hornet, they stopped selling the Mark One. People who still have CCUs from the days before that, they still upgrade or get a Mark One variant, but essentially they stopped selling the Mark One. But I think you still get them in game with money. Or, I mean, not money, but AUEC, or is that gone too? You remember?
I don't know, and part of my confusion is that I have in my hangar a Mark One Super Hornet, but I don't know why. And I think it might be because
You mean
it is
like
the
in your hangar, on the website hangar?
no, in my hangar. And
Okay.
I guess it must be a stand-in ship for something else.
A loaner ship,
But
yeah.
I think it's weird to have a Mark One stand-in ship for anything, right?
Mm.
So I don't know why I have it.
We can look it up later. We probably
Yeah,
find out. But for me,
but yeah,
my fear is they're gonna get rid of the Mark One awards like they did with the Mustang and the Cutlasses. So, but
hmm
they just did a gold standard on it, so maybe not. But maybe they'll keep them around, or maybe they just stop selling the Mark One like they did with the Hornet. So if
yeah.
you
I mean, it's. I think ultimately we might see a bunch of things happen, right? Because if you look at this through an origin lens, for example, people still want that original 300i, right?
okay,
They didn't call the 300i original the Mark One and the new one the Mark Two. They just redid the 300i,
yeah, yeah,
but they could ultimately bring that back, right? Um, and say, yeah, there's not going to be any gold pass on this. This will be in its original state, but you can get it if you want over the long term. So I think I would be less frustrated now, um, because CIG is incentivized the way that they built the community and the way they build our relationship to ships to ultimately bring back almost everything they can,
hmm
right? Because some group will ultimately want it, right? It just depends on when and how, and again, how that. I like your description of the big wheel. It depends on how when the wheel turns and how it
real
turns, but
time. When
ultimately, I think we'll get all this stuff back over the long term.
that should be the new soap opera for CIG as a real time.
You and I can make the machinima. Let's go.
Let's go. I just posted a link called the Loner's Matrix. You have a Polaris, right?
I do.
The Polaris has a loaner of the Super Hornet.
Oh, okay, that's why then.
Simple enough to find out. So, yeah, that's it.
Yeah, you solved that for me very quickly. Thank you.
No problem.
I don't know why I still have a loaner though. Like for what?
I think it's because a lot of these ships they have a single function or like it's not they want to make it more well-rounded. Like my bandit regiment comes with a defender loaner, even though I have a defender in my hangar. So stuff like that. They want to make it more well-rounded, so you're not just stuck with what um, one type of gameplay. Sometimes it depends on the ship.
So the argument would be if I was somebody who came in and I just bought a Polaris, I would still have a Super Hornet to provide me with another form of gameplay.
Exactly.
Right,
Yep.
okay. All right, I get it now.
Yep. So me, I still have a Mark One Heartseeker. Because I'm not sure what I want to CCU it to yet. The problem with my Mark One Heartseeker is that it only has 6 months insurance because it's part of a package that I cannot melt. If I melt it, I won't be able to unmelt it, and that's why it only has 6 months. So what I'm looking for is a CCU that has 10 years that I can upgrade to, and then upgrade to something else. It's something I really want. So I still have a Mark One Heartseeker, but I also have a Heartseeker upgrade for Mark One in case I want to get an LCI Heartseeker from a different ship. So I have Mark One Heartseekers and Mark One Super Hornet CCUs that I've yet to use and I still in my hangar. So I'll be set either way. But as far as the Aurora, I've had Auroras back when I first backed the game. I kind of outgrew the Auroras. I don't have an Aurora in my hangar at the moment. I think I have a loner. But yes, it was cool back in the day, but consolidated out
It's
there.
cooler now. It's cooler now.
It's cooler
Fastcart.
now.
Like,
That's true. It's cooler
you
now.
got
But
the fans for the VTOL that work now, and
yeah,
the steps up work now, and Griff, who I don't know if he's still in the chat, but he's here in spirit while we play. Uh, he consistently makes this point, which is when you just want to get somewhere and don't want to be bothered because people think, oh, it's an Aurora, why bother? The Aurora is a great ship, like the Aurora, the Mustang, the 100i, these smaller entry level ships. People think, oh, that must be a new person, or they can't have anything in there, right? So you don't get bothered, and it's very risk free, risk diminished transport around systems and around the verse. And so, when those things are at gold standard, then you also get those features. So I think that's one of the benefits of the new Aurora as well.
and for me, that role is provided by the 315P.
Yeah, there you go.
I have a 315P, and I love that thing. I backed in 2014. The 315P has always been in my hangar in some form or fashion. So that's
Yeah.
12 years I've had it. I mean, not to say I haven't melted or buy back or something like that. I have, but I have an LTI 315P, and that's staying in my hangar. So yeah, for me. But good point. All right, we're at the top of the hour, so I think we're going to do our ad break. Let me see if I can get this thing working. Excuse me. I gotta find it again. Where is it? Nope. 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 Sorry. It's been a while, folks. I'm trying to find it. Here it
That's all
is.
right.
I
Stunner's
got
in
it.
the
I got
chat.
it. I
Stunner's
got
in the
it.
chat screaming 315p love. Yes.
Thank you for that. All right, I found it. Here we go. It should be starting now. Greetings, everyone. If you are seeing this, if you're not seeing an ad, you're seeing this. We're still live. That's because you are a subscriber, and we appreciate you subscribing and supporting us here in Soul Citizen. And I just wanted to point out we've done a producers episode this month, right?
Not this month.
Not this
It's in
month,
March.
but yeah. So we got to go back, but hopefully we'll do one of those soon, and you'll be able to watch it. So yeah. Anything you want to say for our supporters?
Yeah, it's the easiest thing in the world to say thank you and to say we appreciate you and to say you're a blessing. So thank you. We appreciate you. You're a blessing. And without you, this channel isn't what it could be. So thank you for doing what you do.
Cool. Thank you for that. All right. So we're going to take our break now, and then when we come back, we'll get to the rest of our show. I forgot the title already. No, Hunger and
Hungry
Thirsty.
or thirsty.
Yes, thirsty. Ooh. Just in time before I clicked that button. Who was that?
That was Thaddy Stackis.
Thaddy Stackis with how many? 10 gift subs. Thank you for that. Thaddy Stackis.
Incredible. Thank you very much.
So how close are we to our goal? We're 7 away from our March goal of 60. So appreciate it. Thank you for that.
Powerful.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna take our break. Thank you. We'll be back in a bit.
Happy.
On and on across the stars we fly, so citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on, on and on, on and on. Bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on, on and on. And all across the endless night, our soul citizens burn ever bright. And all across the endless night, our soul citizens burn ever bright. On and on across the stars we fly, soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on, on and on, on and on. Our soul citizens, bringing us that endless sky. We each build up what we want to be, but together we're making history. On and on, on and on, on and all across the endless night, our soul citizens burn ever bright. And all across the endless night, our soul citizens burn ever bright. Abdi Johan, Captain Jones, Fastcart FC, Gomab ATL, Griffin Gaming RPG, Jade Star Watcher, Karate, Colossal, SeriousFun, Summer Geo, Unique, Yo-Yo Man!
And we are back from our break. Hope y'all appreciated that song. Thank you for that song, Serious Fun. It always gets me off. We're in the first 5 minutes. I'm not gonna say what it make me do, but it's a good song. So thank you for that.
I'm glad everybody enjoys it.
Oh yeah, I don't want to put you on the spot, but do you think you'll do an update to add some new members?
Yeah, I told you last week that you get one update a year, and so when we get when we get to the end of the year and it's time for the
Okay, all
2027
right. Yeah,
song, then all our current members will be mentioned.
yeah, everyone that loves the ending, yo man. All right, so we're getting to the second part of our show. The idea is basically, well, it's called Hungry or Thirsty. Basically, the idea is that both Star Citizen gamers and gamers in general are hungry for a form of media and entertainment that are satisfying and rewarding. But there's also a mentality of thirstiness where we will go for anything, even if the signs tell us that we might be disappointed, unfulfilled, upset, etc., after we have played it. We have a couple of examples here, but yeah. So, what are your general thoughts before beginning to our examples?
Yeah, I appreciated Griff sort of fleshing this topic out for us. You know, this idea of um uh because thirsty has a particular connotation, right, in pop
Mm-hmm.
culture, right? Um, you don't want to walk around being perceived as thirsty, right? Um, but hunger, I understand, right? Um, that yearning for satisfying entertainment, right? A great current example in the media zeitgeist is, people were really dissatisfied, and rightly so, many people, with how Game of Thrones ended, right?
Mm.
Um, and a lot of people started out with this new Game of Thrones show, A Night of the Seven Kingdoms, with some trepidation, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the fan base for it grew, and it showed how hungry people were for satisfying entertainment, um, in terms of a show that was done well, right? Um, People jumped all over it.
Yeah.
People even jumped all over House of the Dragon, even though House of the Dragon is kind of a depressing story, right?
Right.
Um, so people are, and the time that we spend, right? For example, in the Soul Citizen Discord, and you all are welcome to the Citizen Discord. Um, but the time that we spend discerning between sort of current content and entertainment that is of high quality, content that we watched back in the day but realize it's not really good, and content that has some age to it but still has these quality features, right? We talk a little bit about the storytelling in Babylon 5, right? The character building in Farscape, right?
Mm.
We spend time on this stuff because we have a hunger for quality entertainment, and gamers are no different. So I appreciated the opportunity to explore this today, both through the lens of Star Citizen, but also through gaming itself. What
You
about
make
you?
a you make a great analogy when you talk about TV shows. So when you say that, I'm like, darn, now I want to do a show like this for TV shows. Battlestar Galactica for me, because we can have a great debate, discussion about that. But that's a different topic. But yeah,
Well, it's Hungry and Thirsty Part 2. We'll do it later in
yeah,
the year.
yeah. You mentioned Farscape, and yeah, I think that's an underrated series. Ooh, we got another raid coming in. Who is this?
Trip
This is
Rodriguez.
Trip
Trip Rodriguez.
Rodriguez.
Thank
Thank you
you.
for the raid. Welcome
And welcome.
Raiders. We are discussing Hungry or Thirsty, where we talk about the mentality of gamers. Um, hungry for a certain form of entertainment and media that are satisfying and rewarding, but often be winding up disappointed. So, welcome later. Hope you appreciate the discussion. But yeah, you mentioned Farscape. I believe that's an underrated show, and I wish more people would experience it. Cause I mean, you've experienced like the first five or so episodes, and it started out with a bang for you, or how would you describe it?
Well, it's I have a lot of grace for the first couple episodes of Eddie's show, right? Because
Hmm.
they're still figuring it out, right?
Right.
So it was kind of stilted in terms of the character interactions and the actors themselves figuring out who these characters are. But at the same time, the setting was compelling, right? There's this
Hmm.
guy, he immediately um, creates an arch enemy, right? And
Farscape.
yeah, Farscape, and as a result of that, he's got an arch enemy. At least probably through the first season. Who knows how that's going to go? But um, and it creates this overarching dread over every episode, right? Like, is this the episode when he's going to snatch them up? So, Captain Jones, thank you very much for
Thank
the
you for the
5
5 gift cards.
gift
Appreciate
subs.
the Captain
Yes,
Jones.
we really appreciate you. A member of the Soul Team. So just there's multiple
So,
dimensions of appreciation right there.
so that was my bad. I certainly gotten off on the Farscape thing. I just think it's an underrated show, and I wish more people would watch it. 'Cause it's a pretty good series from start to finish, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I mean, it does have some low points, but I think overall it's great. But yeah, that's me. All right, so let's get on with the rest of the show. And I've come up with our first example. I'll put it on the screen real quick. Gamers constantly buying games during Steam sales when we already have games in our library that we don't already play.
Yeah.
Starting off with a bang here. What are your thoughts?
Well, I feel personally attacked.
Right? I mean, and that's going to be a recurring theme throughout this whole episode.
I mean, what's funny is that Steam has this model that really works for Valve, right? That's why Valve does so well. But you open up your Steam browser, your Steam player, and it immediately shows you the stuff that you have on you get to wish list things, then it shows you and contacts you when your wish list stuff goes on sale. You thinking, oh well, now's the time to get it. You got the Fall Fest, you got the Gamer Fest, you got all these different seasons within the Steam ecosystem when stuff gets discounted. And then you also want to feel like, from a behavioral economic standpoint, the gamer wants to feel like they have been smart, right? So I see people who have come into Elite Dangerous or other games like that when the game is discounted down to like $9.99, right? Because that feels smart,
Mhm.
right? Right. When really it is, to the point of this question, it's the 101st game in your library that you ain't gonna play it anyway, right? Uh, so yeah, I've got games in the hundreds, and I have an average of probably about 3 hours per game. So
Mhm.
um, it is a little bit pathetic. Um, but what's the rationale behind it? The rationale behind it is, 90% I've convinced myself that I will play this game and I will experience this game. It's coming in on the sale side. It's coming in at a price that I think is reasonable for my hobby, right? And then the third thing is it's the type of game that I want to see more of, so I want to
Mhm.
support it, right? I bought into Angels Fall First when nobody was playing Angels Fall First, and still nobody's playing Angels Fall First. But Angels Fall First was a form of Star Citizen before Star Citizen, right?
Okay.
And so I support that because I want to see that type of game in the world, right? So that's a small percentage of it as well. What about you?
Yeah, for me, I'm guilty of this too. I think this is probably. I mean, I hate to generalize, but who wouldn't be guilty of this in some form or fashion? But yeah, I stopped. But for me, I stopped buying because I bought all the games, most of the games that I want that I want to buy. I've been into that over the years because I'm over 50, so games been around for quite a while. Eventually, you should run out, or unless you keep adding to your list. But my library is full of Star Wars games that I haven't touched. Cause back in the day, well, I still am a Star Wars fan, but
Back in the day, you were a Star Wars fan.
I'm a Star Wars fan. Yeah, exactly. But yeah, so I have a whole bunch of Star Wars fan and Star Wars games in my library I haven't touched. But I go one better. you touched on this a bit, but how about keeping a wish list of all the release games to play that you intend to buy, even though I have games I haven't touched. So I'm guilty of that too, and
Hmm.
that's part of it. So I have like 20 games on my wish list that and I have like 100 games in my library. So yeah, that's all related into one thing, or it can be one into one thing in my opinion.
Yeah, and you have stuff in your library, sadly, that are games that you can't even play anymore, right? Um, I've got Ashes of Creation in my library.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait, what do you mean? What game? Okay, I would think a single player game. You mean online game? But yeah, that's true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, stuff that comes and goes,
Hmm.
right? Um, or stuff that has single player features, but the online is no longer supported,
All
right?
right.
NBA
Match spec.
2K15, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's stuff like that as well. But yeah, um, I recognize this behavior in myself. I try to think about it in the context of what does this, in terms of the industry, what does this gird and what does this abet? I don't want to abet bad behavior by developers, but I
Right.
do seek to support things that I want to see in the world. So
All right. So we have quite a few more points that we can
yeah.
get to. So the next point coming up is taking off work for a launch of a game, in particular the case of a single player game when there's no player competition or no online component, but you take off work for a launch of a game. I'll start off with this one. I personally haven't been guilty of this, but I do set alarms for when a game is supposed to go live. So I do that, but I typically I don't work, but I typically don't have to take off time from work to do that. But I typically only do it for games with online components. I don't do it for games with a single player, and no competition. How about you?
So this is something that I used to do in a variety of contexts that I've learned not to do anymore at all.
Mm. Okay.
So whether it was, um, you know, taking off work, but so because I was with my best friend at midnight at GameStop picking up
Oh
the
man, those
latest
were the days.
the latest the latest Madden game, right? So that we could run home and plug it in the Xbox and play immediately and then fall asleep anyway because it was 2 o'clock
Hmm.
in the morning. Um, or it is taking off of work for a game and then the game doesn't work the first day and you get a week one patch that makes it work and you could have gone to work and you used up days and the game wasn't working and wasn't available that first day anyway. I have learned not to do that. But it took getting old and tired and it took some lessons about developers moving the date or the day one patch doesn't work or whatever, to get out of that habit. So I am now out of that habit, but it took a while.
Mm.
So
Yeah, you just reminded me of the last time I did it, which was Full Tour back in 2011, I want to say. But
mm,
yeah, I stood in line for GameStop. I was getting the collector's edition box, a bigger box that had a statue in it. And I was in line, and because I'm disabled, I'm in my car. I'm in the front. They let me stay in the front of the line. I was how do I want to put this? Miffed. Let's say miffed that I didn't get the first box. I got the second box, but I'm okay with that now. It's been years. I didn't get
it
the first
sounds like
box.
you still got a little bit of something behind that. It's not.
No,
I
I'll,
feel
I'll
like I
try. I'll
heard a
try to
little
find
bit.
the right word. I'll try to find the right word. That's what that is. But yeah, I'm fine now. I'm fine now. I'm over it. But yeah, those days I used to do Black Friday doorbusters way back in the day,
Mm.
or Best Buy, and some of those were great experience because you got to hang out with other people who were like minded. Another time, you're in the wrong neighborhood, and I didn't know that at the time. So yeah, times are certainly different now than they were back then.
Yeah.
All right, so up next we have, this is particular in the case of Star Citizen. In the case of Star Citizen, when a patch dropped, people literally rushing to download the latest patch in PTU, in particular when we know that PTU is a buggy mess. You want to take this one first?
Well, so here's where I'm a little bit of a hypocrite, right? And then I just talked about how I don't really do that. But in this case of Star Citizen, I do it, but I don't do it with a bunch of expectations, right? I do it just to see, and whatever it is, right? So, for example, um, I was one of those folks who was recently invited to Eva Cotty, right?
Mm-hmm.
So Eva Cotty patch drops, you go in. If I have this three strikes and you're out rule, right? So I'm in the Evo Cotty portion of our Discord. The thing crashes on me 3 times in a row. I turn it off, take a break, right?
Mm-hmm.
You have other people who are like, you ain't gonna stick in there. And I'm like, no, I ain't. I'm here to test, and I can't even test because the game is crashing. I don't get mad about it.
Mm-hmm.
I don't even get mad about it in PTU. If things aren't working, you turn it off and go do something else. So I do jump in when it comes to Star Citizen to give feedback, to experience new features, to test new features, to offer up, and to hear from others about that. But if it's not working, I'm not like frustrated about it. I'm like, all right, well, it ain't time. So this needs to cook, and it is what it is. Um, I I I remember being sort of locked out of the game at 318, and that
You
was
wouldn't have
live.
to. You wouldn't have to verse.
Yeah, and that was a live patch, and that felt different.
Mm-hmm.
But this question is about like we're downloading the latest PTU or the latest ePTU, whatever.
Yeah, because
And
it's a
we
constant
know,
thing.
yeah, and we know it's going to be buggy because that's the whole point of open development is they're sharing this stuff with us earlier, you know.
and
Um,
and we could tie this in with people who like complain about being needing to be concierge in order to be like the first wave or a subscriber to be the first wave, and but
mhm.
people are like, when you get in that thing, you don't want to be in that first wave. You don't want to be in that first wave, but the people complain about it because they think they're missing out on something.
Right, right. And usually people who will subscribe for a month to do that, they do that a couple months and then see what it's like, and then they realize this is either for me or it is not for me. And when it's
Right.
not for you, you don't do it anymore, right? So
Yeah, but for me personally, I'm not guilty of this because I don't rush for PTO. I barely rush for live. I mean, okay, that's not true. The past couple times I did rush for live, but not for the PTO. Not for the
yeah,
PTO. Right, that's me. All
yeah.
right,
And it's
go
fun
ahead.
it's for me, it's more interesting now for me to treat things like Star Citizen as a reward for getting other stuff done,
Mm.
right? So you go to the gym and you get it, then the reward is to get on with Star Citizen. You eat the right smoothie, then the reward is to get on with Star Citizen, right? And to treat it more as a reward for doing other stuff that I need to get done in my life. So
The
that's
president
that's
brings up reminds me of the point. Like before we had Delta passing, we had to download the whole game. It was like back then it was more like 40 gigabytes or 50 gigabytes instead of like 150
hmm
now. So
hmm
before Delta passing, we had to re-download the whole game each patch, and that was like a lot of bandwidth, and some people couldn't do that. So that yeah, I might have been guilty of that back then. I played more back then, so yeah, I'm guilty of that.
yeah, and that costs everybody. So you saw how quickly they got that Delta patch done, and how well, not how quickly they got
I
it
was
done,
gonna
but
say it took a while.
how prioritized it
Right,
was.
right.
Right, it was prioritized.
Yeah, I think we got it in like 2016, 2017. It felt like.
Yeah, yeah.
All right, so next point. Going along with bad practices in the industry when we know that as consumers we wouldn't do it in any other area of our life, i.e., examples of bad launches, unfinished games, etc. You want to take this one first?
Well, I feel like this is something that Griff would write because Griff, like us, we're over 50, right? I'm
Mm-hmm.
55, you're over 50, and Griff's over 50. So we had the experience of buying gaming media and gaming matter that was on cartridges, right? Or on CD-ROM,
Right.
and the internet wasn't fully fleshed out, right? So
Mm.
the game had to be gold and it had to be right when it got to us,
Mm-hmm.
right? By definition, right? You couldn't put out a cartridge that went into the Nintendo or a cartridge that went into the Atari or went into the Intellivision, right? Um, that didn't work because there was no way to update it, right? So it had to work, right?
There was
And
no such thing as
so
a day one patch back then.
no, or any patch,
No any
right?
patch. Basically, a patch with an expansion on DLC that you bought.
Right, exactly. It was you just gotten more, and that worked. That also worked because it had to work, right? And so with the internet, we got this idea, and I think it is it can be a relatively poor practice where stuff is launched and we're essentially the final. It's launched as a retail product, but we're really the final beta test, right? And that's kind of why I respect the Star Citizen process because we're told up front, we're told every time we log in, we're told throughout the process that this is testable alpha, right? Um, that's different than somebody offering a product on day one and then it doesn't work, right? This was not my experience, for example, with CD Projekt Red and Cyberpunk.
Mm.
Cyberpunk worked for me, but I had a very high end PC, right? But for almost everybody else in my circle at the time, and particularly for those that were trying to do it on console, Cyberpunk was not working, right? So some other metric drove the launch of that product before it was finished and before it was working for most people. That is bad practice, right? And we need to work to hold these publishers and developers accountable for those bad practices, and there needs to be a price that's paid. Um,
And when we say price is paid, we mean more than a bad reputation. So that seems to be the only thing, the only price that's being paid at the moment.
well, as consumers, we withdraw our dollars is the price that I'm talking about,
Right.
and whatever the consequence comes from that is the consequence that comes from that. I'm not necessarily even talking about bad reputation. For example, with CD Projekt Red, you'd have to say inconsistent reputation, right?
Mm.
Because before that, their reputation was relatively high in terms of the quality of the product that they put out, right? I don't think you could say bad reputation because bad reputation would be just for me would be broadly doing this on a regular basis, right? Which
Right.
was
Okay.
not their
All right.
reputation,
Inconsistent. That's fair.
right? So inconsistent reputation, but it's also not trying to put these companies out of business,
Mm.
right? It's more along the lines of, hey, uh, the price you should pay, in my view, for what you did with Cyberpunk is not only diminished sales, not only being taken off the Sony PlayStation Store, but the next game you drop, you should see a diminishment in pre-orders
Mm.
because you lost a component of trust, right? So the next game that CD Projekt Red drops, I will not pre-order. I don't care what it is, right?
Okay.
Because that's the price you pay for what you did with Cyberpunk, in my view,
Right.
right?
And
So
that and that's one of the examples I was gonna do once we get off these pre-written ones, pre-order. But we'll get to that more than that in a moment. But yeah, for me, yeah, I'm guilty of this as well. You know, I wouldn't stand for like an electric saber that doesn't work. It doesn't cut my beard correctly. You know, but for a game, our priorities and stuff like that have just changed over the last 30, 20 years, what have you. So it's unfortunate, but that's just the way the industry. I think the industry pointed us, moved us toward this point rather than the people, the consumers did. That to me that's how it is.
well, I think it's both.
You
I
think
think
it's
it's
both?
both. Yeah, I think the industry was happy to have a cycle of game development launches that more coincided with what they needed to tell shareholders every quarter, regardless of the quality. And it's our fault when we don't keep account of the companies that do this to us and make them pay some sort of price.
That's fair. That's fair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only other thing is I would say is, we do see, to the point of this question, we do see us we do hold accountability in other areas of our life. You know, when the Cybertruck dropped and it was stalling for people on the side of the road and the software didn't work and the trunk was closing on people's fingers and all these other, you saw video after video after video of people who were enthusiastic about buying their Cybertruck and disgusted with the actual outcome, right? And you know, right now, as a result of that, the Cybertruck brand is kind of for a variety of reasons, but certainly one of them was the quality of the truck when it launched. The Cybertruck brand is highly diminished from
How
where
much?
it was,
How much was the Cybertruck? Do you remember?
like 100 grand,
It's
right?
$100,000. Okay.
Yeah, but then once the brand was diminished, people who had bought it for 100 grand couldn't sell it to
Save
without
your
being
life.
underwater. Yeah,
Dang.
so
All right. So up next we have. Oh yes. Okay. Let me hide this one. The price of cosmetics, guns, sword, mounts, vehicles, or skins that cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars. Sparkle Pony. We're looking at you here.
ah,
I'll go first on this
yeah,
one.
go ahead.
I'm guilty of this. I play gacha games. I know, but I think the most I've ever played is probably $60. I don't go for like 1,000. I mean, I say that for Star Citizen, but you know that's a different thing. In my head, it's a different thing. But you know, like gacha game, $60, especially if it's an IP I really enjoy, like a mech, a good mech gacha game. I'll do that. But you know, for MMOs, it depends on the MMO. I got a I played Final Fantasy 14 for a bit, and I got a mount there, but it wasn't that much. It was reasonable. And you know, I always stay within my own budget. I never like say, oh, it's limited time. If I don't get it now, I'm gonna regret it. Like I, I, there's some stuff I do regret not getting for Star Citizen, but I'll get over that eventually. How about you?
Yeah, well, let me talk first about outside Star Citizen, what my practice had been. Um, if I was deeply into the IP and into the lore, I was deeply into the cosmetics, right? So I have about 4,000 hours in Elite Dangerous. At one point, I had every single cosmetic they had. I was a completionist, right? My relationship with that game changed from Odyssey, the Odyssey update onward. And I have almost nothing um, in terms of cosmetics that they offer. I continue to have all the ships in the game, but that's it. I don't have any of the skins, any of the um, you know, the other stuff. I don't have any of the detailing decals, any of that new stuff. None of it. And so, um, you know, my relationship with Star Citizen um, is a bit more pick and choose, right? So on the one hand, I buy the yearly Imperator subscription
Okay.
so that I just have that. That's one of my ways to support the game. Um, and so whatever comes with that comes with it. And most of the time it's like, whatever, in these monthly pieces. Um, but I don't think completionist when it comes to Star Citizen. I think, what do I like? Right. And even that has gone through various phases of purchase, try out, melt, put back into store credit and something else. Oh, Victoria, thank you for your subscription. 11
Oh, you
months in a
heard
row.
that one? Thank you for that, Victoria.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
Um, and so yeah, I'm a lot more discerning with Star Citizen. Um, I don't really feel the completionist bug with Star Citizen. Um, uh, and um, it really depends on what it is, how it hits me for the FOMO side in terms of this
Well,
stuff.
real quick,
Um,
let me interrupt you real quick. How many ships do you currently own in Star Citizen?
you're asking a you're asking a big
I
question.
can tell you, for myself, I own 24 ships. And a few of those are vehicles, you know, the minor ones, but, you know, not primarily, but mostly it's mediums and large.
Yeah. Yeah, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
That's a very personal question.
No, and this group knows that, you know, I, I, I was, I was Praetorian,
He played the fifth.
and so, but this is a different account, and I currently own 10
No,
ships.
Tech Zero. Oh, go ahead. Sorry, go ahead.
I currently own 10 ships.
10 steps. Okay, Tech Zero, I'm going to disagree with you. The question you never asked is how much they spend on Star Citizen. You can ask how many ships they have, in my opinion. How many ships is different from how much. So you don't ask how much they spent. So I'm going to push back on you for that one.
Yeah, from the Aurora LN up through the Polaris. I am
I
pretty
have a
much.
PTV, but I got it from a referral or some kind of bonus thing. So I do have a PTV. That's my smallest ship, but my smallest ship is a 315, but I do have a hover quad that I got from a referral. So yeah.
Yeah, I have probably the same amount of ships in buyback pledges too. Like
Okay.
so it all depends, right? Like I
Hmm.
have the Fortuna pack,
Hmm.
the Constellation Phoenix and buybacks, and I know I'm going to pull that out at some point. And, you know,
Okay. Yeah. All right. I was just curious.
yeah.
Um. So yeah, I've already talked about this. Yeah. So from here on, we're gonna not freestyle, but more of our own ideas and suggestions. So other examples, hungry or thirsty. I'm gonna edit this for myself because I'll go first. Then we'll go back and forth. I hope that sounds okay with you. But for me, um,
You're running this show. I'm gonna do what you tell me to do.
okay. Hopefully that fits. Hold on, let me see if it fits. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, so pre-ordering games and then playing them ahead of release, even though they're probably a buggy bag. Case in point, what we discussed earlier, and they may not even be as good as you hoped that it could be. So yes, I am guilty of this. Matter of fact, I'm going to be guilty of this because a new game coming out in May called Forza Horizon 6. I
Said
am
I'm gonna be guilty.
I'm pre-ordering it's a racing game, and I know I love Forza Horizon 5. So it's an IP am comfortable with, even though it may not be as fun or just as good as Horizon 5, but I expect it to be because this is just this game. So they should not go wrong with this, but they could. But my expectations it'll be fine. That I do pre-order games, but for me, I only buy 2, 3, 4 games a year. That's not counting like ships or stuff like that. I mean like actual games. I'm not a game buyer. Even though I have like 100 games in my library, that's over 30, 40 odd years. So I don't buy that many games per year. So this is my first game that I'll be buying in 2026. So yeah, Forza Horizon 6. How about you?
Yeah, when I see this statement, what came to mind immediately were games again that were reflective of the types of games that I wanted to see tried and see in the world. So there was a game called Dual Universe
Okay.
by a company called Nova Quark. And it was the idea of a science fiction universe, players interacting in a single shard without the use of separate servers, voxel technology, um, but that idea of that continuous single shard sandbox MMORPG. And so I, supported the game at the gold level and got in early, and it never really was compelling a game experience at all. It was buggy. It was messy. I went away from it. And then when they tried to quote unquote launch, I went back and the thing was entirely empty. Right. So it's not really around anymore. Or if it is, I don't know who's playing it. So the um, that's one example. Another example in that genre was Infinity Battlescape, another multiplayer space combat sim. Wanted to support its development, but it never really took off.
Mm.
But I jumped in there early. And when pre-order is like a broad category, right? But some of these games, when you talk about pre-ordering, you're talking about, Ashes of Creation is another one. You're talking about people, putting 100, 250, $500 in to sort of drive the development. It's not just pre-ordering at the bare
You
minimum.
know, you
It's
just
sort of,
triggered half the chat when you brought that game
well,
up,
I
right?
probably pops and fists, certainly, but who I love, right? But I'm in there with them, right? I had $120 in
There he goes.
I had $120 into Ashes, and we were all in there playing it in what they called, I can't remember what they called it, Alpha 1 or Alpha 2 or whatever it was.
Hmm.
And and trying to give them feedback to make it better, right?
Right.
Um but Dual Universe, Infinity Battlescape, Ashes of Creation, they're all on um the pile that represents the ignominy of these types of games that have gone before them. So it is um it is a risk, and part of the reason we do it is because we are hungry for, in this particular case for me, I'm hungry for what Star Citizen's promise is for the most part, right?
No, I have to say this. Soul Citizens do not condone violence, especially upon other people.
Yeah.
From what
Muso Sound's opinion is not the opinion of Soul
thank
Citizens
you,
and its
thank
the
you.
subsidiaries.
So that was my first example. What is your first example?
Uh, well, I think, and this is going to trigger this is going to trigger Pops and Fist again. But one of the examples that stood out to me when I began to think about this in a rigorous way was Anthem,
Mm.
right? Anthem, to be very frank, was full of destiny hungry players who threw money at BioWare's loot shooter, even though the nature of the game was changing before our eyes. And despite the fact that people forget this, but despite Soul said muting the stream right now, don't mute. We have to talk about it. But people forget that Anthem's demo weekend on PS4 essentially was bricking and corrupting PS4 consoles
Mm.
when it came out at first, right? Those who went through it don't forget, but others who just saw it might forget that that's how bad it was early on, right? That it was people were having to reset. The consoles weren't technically bricked, but they had to reset their entire consoles because of how bad and corrupted the Anthem demo was. And this was from BioWare, right? Who had garnered
BioWare,
so
yeah.
much trust from the Dragon Age series and the Mass Effect series, right? It was the reason that people were paying attention to this title was BioWare had decided to do it, right? And Anthem um played us for our hunger for the next experience from that company, right? And ultimately I felt like disrespected um the entire community in terms of um one, not really believing in their own idea but selling us as if they did believe in it, right? But the idea changed 2 or 3 times, and then delivering things that actually hurt us, right?
Mm.
Hurt our consoles, wasted our time. People talk about how Star Citizens needs to respect players' time. Anthem is an example of not respecting players' time, right? Ashes is turning into an example of not respecting players' time, right? So, but yeah, Anthem is my example. What about you?
Yeah, for your specific example, I still play the E Online even though they book people PC. As long as because it didn't happen to me because I kept my installation like my game installation on a different hard drive, so I didn't have to boot that INI. But I still play that game. But hey, I can understand where you're coming from. But for me, I would pick a different another example. I'm gonna erase this and put mine in. Let me erase this. So then here you go. People don't take advantage of buying a base game, trying it out, then getting a deluxe or premium upgrade. For me, I always buy the premium or ultimate bundles by default. But I've been fortunate that I've only regretted it twice so far. And yeah, I don't know if it's just triggering other people, but yes, I, 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 I'm guilty of it. I love me some premium or deluxe content. But like I said, I only buy two to four games a year, so it's not like I'm constantly buying them. So I had that, working out for me. But Cyberpunk, I bought a premium base. This is like year that when people are saying, "Oh, Cyberpunk is good now," but it didn't quite work out for me because I played one handed and didn't quite work out. X4 was another example.
Mm.
I thought I would love X4, but it didn't quite click for me. Maybe I got to go back and try it again because I played X4 like 4 hours, and it just wasn't clicking for me. So those are the two games that didn't work out. How about you?
Well, I'll say this about X4 is that EgoSoft had to do better with their new player experience. I felt, and I think they've done that. So I would recommend going back to X4 and giving it a solid 20 hours
Mm.
before making your decision. I highly recommend X4. Um, but for me, what comes to mind here is Starfield,
Mm.
right? So, um, the collector's edition for Starfield, 200 some odd dollars. It got you the Constellation watch. You know, you're thinking I'm going to be. I have this affiliation now with NASA Cyberpunk, NASA Punk.
Mm.
Um, it's gonna move me the way Skyrim and Morrowind and Oblivion have moved me, but in the genre that I care about the most, which is this future science fiction, this near future science fiction. Um, and uh, and for me, I was leaning into Starfield in such a way that um, I was telling people in the Soul Citizens Discord, it's all good. Star Citizen can take as long as it takes because I got Starfield to play. That's gonna be a finished game. I'm just gonna play that, and as Star Citizen comes along, it comes along. I got the finished game to play. And Todd
Mm.
Howard's like it's 100 systems, 1,000 planets. You're like, oh, all that stuff is gonna be in there, right?
Mm.
And I don't remember walking Skyrim and experiencing loading screens, right? You remember going into dungeons and having loading screens, coming out of
Mhm.
dungeons and having loading screens, but not
Mhm.
walking the universe itself, right? And then Starfield dropped and had a loading screen every 5 feet. It felt like being on the New Jersey Turnpike. There was a toll every 20 feet, right? And it was for me. It was a terrible experience. I finished it because I started it. I didn't finish it because I loved it, right?
Mm.
And um, it was easy for me to put that collector's edition and that watch and all that stuff on eBay and get rid of it, right? I didn't want that thing in my house.
I still had that Darth Maul statue from Star Wars: The Old Republic. Okay.
Nah, my Starfield stuff went right up on eBay.
All
It
right.
was no problem whatsoever.
Did you get a good I don't want to say good deal, but yeah, did you get a good deal
Oh,
from them?
for half of what I paid for it.
Half of what you
Right.
paid. Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah, I couldn't give away that Malgus statue if I wanted to, because by the time I started losing interest in Star Wars: The Old Republic, they were still selling collected edition boxes, so people could buy brand new boxes if they wanted to, and so there's no way I could have gotten rid of mine. But yeah.
Yeah.
All right, you have more. You should probably start like um not spamming. What's the word? Speed running. Not
All right, I'll give you some of this hungry and thirsty behavior I see within Star Citizen.
okay.
Right. I'll give you a few of them. Right. Uh, Legatus.
Mm. Oh boy.
Right. Legatus is that ultimate hunger. Right. What is
Mm-hmm.
it? $45,000. Right.
48 now.
Yeah. Uh, concept ship sales. Right.
Mm.
buying a JPEG of a promise, right? This is all stuff I've done. I haven't done Legatus, but like concept sales, I've done the subscriber flares and extras. I've done war bond sales, right?
Yeah, I'm
Uh,
guilty of those too.
right.
Especially CCU. CCUs.
Yeah.
A matter of fact, I put CCU up myself.
The LTI game,
Oh
right?
boy.
Which is a variant on Warbond. They've tied it they've tied those things together.
The CCU game, which is a variant of CCUs.
Right. Exactly. Um those types of things. What about you?
Yeah, I didn't go specifically for Star Citizen. I went for gaming in general. But yeah, these are some good points. Like I'm not Legatus. I am Wing Commander. I just hit Wing Commander. Concept ship sales. Those are going away after the Battle Cruiser. The Battle Cruiser is supposed to be the last one. I'm not getting a Battle Cruiser, so so the last concept ship sale for me was whenever the last concept ship sale was. I don't even remember what it was now. Warbond, I don't really do Warbond ships, but I do Warbond CCU. LTI, I'm always talking about the LTI tokens and stuff like that. And I'm always just playing the CCU game, especially when it comes to IE. So, yeah, I mean, except for Legatus, I'm guilty of those. So,
Yeah, I
man,
mean,
go
outside of
ahead.
Star Citizen, it could be, I used to be a competitor in FIFA, right?
Mm.
Um, and buying that thing every year, even though you knew that it
Oh,
would lying to you about the new feature being that different, you know, they'd be like, "Oh, this is that new feature that changes the running game so much in Madden, or changes the passing and dribbling so much in FIFA." Or yeah, you're right, COD,
Madden.
Battlefield,
Yeah.
NBA 2K, those
mm.
annualized games. The gameplay improvements are minimal. The monetization gets worse every cycle, and we still buy them. I mean, the worst example I think is Konami's eFootball, which used to be PES, Pro Evolution Soccer. They used to have a feature called Master League, but once they formatted the game mainly for mobile and treat PC as a secondary thing, there is no Master League, so there is no career mode. You can only play their online mobile game. They're making money only because people still buy into eFootball hoping that there'll be a Master League, and they've been hoping for 5, 10, 6 years now. 5, 6 years, and there will never be a Master League
Mm.
because Konami doesn't. There's no incentive for them to have you play and not be on their monetization roller coaster. So
Yeah, dude, the every year COD, Battlefield. Yeah, I'm not guilty of those. I think I bought one Madden game, but the others, they don't interest me. So maybe I'm fortunate in that aspect. But
yeah,
I have thought of one Star Citizen. It's both Star Citizen and game in general. So I've just put this in there. Don't take advantage of free flies for Star Citizen or something like a $1 Microsoft Game Pass for a month to try out games.
when we don't do that,
No,
we're
we
not.
don't do that. We don't do
Yeah,
that. So yeah, don't take advantage of free flies because you get access to a whole bunch of shit for free for a week, or like it's almost like a free game pass, just $1. And they do it maybe I think during the holidays or Black Friday, and because you get to play the whole lineup of Microsoft game library for a month for $1. So people don't take advantage of those, in my opinion.
no, that's true. And that's not because they hate the Microsoft installer, which is
Right.
terrible.
Which is terrible.
It,
It is.
it's
But yeah,
because we just
for $1 it's worth it.
yeah, it is worth it. And we need to continue to rest replete in those deals. I appreciate when I see YouTubers who have waited for a free fly to try out Star Citizen,
hmm
because I think they last long enough now for them to get a real taste of all the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? So yeah,
So we do have a bunch of more others, but I think we should.
we could go on forever.
Yeah, we can go on for a while, but I think it's top of the hour, so I'm
Yeah,
gonna start wrapping this up. I'm gonna look at the Q&A. So let me bring this up real quick. Oops, the wrong one. Not used to click on these, but I'll bring up this thing if I can find it. That's the right one. Yeah, that's it. All right. Ooh, that's not the right one. Sorry. Let me get this. Da-da-da. Here it is. All right, so we do have a couple of Q&As to get through. So let me look at these real quick. Our first question is from Griffin Gaming RPG. Ooh, a new comment.
Oh, okay.
A new comment. So first question was, any thoughts on player cheats or exploits and how it might show a thirstiness from gamers? Any thoughts on player cheats or exploits and how it might show a thirstiness from gamers? Gamers just like to try to mess around and find out, or they're just trying to like see much they can how much they can get away with before they get in trouble. In my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's part of it. I also think gamers have an imagination of themselves, and when their skill only gets them so far in their imagination of themselves, they start looking at alternative tools,
Mm.
right? Particularly if the environment that they're in tells them that everyone else is using these tools, right? That becomes the rationalization and the justification for their claim. And then their argument to themselves is, well, I'm number one, I'm cheating, but I'm number one amongst a bunch of cheaters. Everybody's cheating, right? Or everybody's using the trainer, or everybody's using the wall hack, or everybody's using whatever it is, right? And so one of the things that I found compelling about the Soul Citizens community is that we're not spending a lot, you don't see people spending any time at all on how to game the game, right? You see people talking about playing the game, right? There's nobody going, hey, here's this website that'll give you this wall hack. And
Mm.
we kind of call those things out when we
Yeah.
see them. And so I'm really appreciative of that. But my youngest son is a Valorant player, right?
Mm.
And he wants to become a really good Valorant player, and he's now in the top 1% in the world, right? In Valorant, and he's coming across a bunch of hackers and cheaters,
Mm.
and he's not struggling with the idea of, oh, they're hacking and cheating, I need to hack and cheat. What he's struggling with is, can I find my way through to a community that isn't doing that, right? Because he sees the stories online of these people who even get on stage in competitions and are discovered to be hacking and cheating, and their whole reputation and the respect that people have for them goes down the tubes. Like, he's seeing the whole arc of descent for these players. And so obviously he's disincentivized, right? Because he's not just seeing the benefits of cheating, he's seeing the loss, right?
Like
But
for me,
it is a tension in his
hmm
community, and with the friends he treats on his team. So
yeah, for me, I tend to play games where cheating only benefits you and doesn't really affect me, like a single player game, or maybe like Baldur's Gate 3, or maybe like if there's a cheating in like Forza Horizon, it affects that player more than because I race against other NPCs. I don't really race against players too much, so I'm not affected that much. And that's just the game, the kind of game I play, so I don't see it that much. But yeah, I can see how it would affect other people who are into stuff like that.
well, and I can say that for myself, right? There are examples on a single player game where I've had the game for 6 months. I just don't have the skill to get past a certain level,
Mm.
right?
Yeah,
So I'll
that's gonna
go.
be it for Squadron 42.
That's not usually how it is for me, but
Right.
um, I
And
remember
uh,
pulling
we
up
get old. We're not as
God
fast as
mode
we
for
used to
something,
be.
right? Because I want to experience the story, right?
hmm
And so I'll pull up God mode to get past a certain level,
mm.
and then turn it back off or whatever. I definitely have done that, but to do it in a competitive or multiplayer environment to me seems a how would a sociologist would call it a deviant overconformity
Mm.
to the thirsty, hungry gamer ethic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and you know, we like I said, we happen to be in a community that will call that out, so that's good for me.
I am playing Arkfield. I'm sorry, Arc Knight Infield, and that's most. It's a single player game, but it has online components, and there are other people playing the game, but you never see the other people. And there have been times where the certain puzzle just gets on my darn nerves. And I'm like, okay, I've been at this puzzle for myself for like 20 minutes. So, Griffin, I do try to do the puzzle myself, okay? I try to do the puzzle, I honestly do. But that's why I got to look it up on YouTube. I just have to look it up on YouTube eventually. But like that's like 95% of the game I do myself. So yeah.
Yeah.
Next question from Griffin Gaming RPG again, a returning champion. Beyond
right.
curiosity, why do players come to a game like Star Citizen even though it's known for its bugs and incompleteness? Ooh. Beyond curiosity, why do players come to a game like Star Citizen even though it's known for its bugs and
Well,
incompleteness?
the answer to me is the title of the show. Players are hungry and thirsty. Um, they are thirsty in that sense of um, leading in despite all the red flags because CIG's marketing is outstanding. There isn't another game like it.
That's number one. That's number one for me.
Right. And because there's just enough discourse about it to make it something that you want to decide for yourself. Right. In almost every channel, you'll see somebody say scam and somebody say you don't know what you're talking about. Somebody else will say scam, somebody else will say you don't know what you're talking about. There's just enough curiosity to drive that free fly, right? The hunger side of it is a little bit more about this idea of, to my mind, this idea of, again, wanting to see a certain type of thing in the world, right? And if another organization was doing what Star Citizen was trying to do better than Star Citizen was trying to do it, I'd be supporting that too, right? It goes back to what I just talked about with Dual Universe and Infinity Battlescape and all these other games that I have given my support to, right? Because people talk about trying to do what Star Citizen is doing, but it's hunger for that Ready Player One game, and Chris Roberts stirred the pot again in Australia by saying we're making Ready Player One. That's really what we're doing.
Like some
Right.
people have never seen that movie.
Or but some people have read the book, right?
Or some
Or
people
seen
read
the
the
movie.
book, yeah.
And what he means by that is and Tyler said it to Linus Tech Tips Tech Longer. He said it as well. It's the game where you can go in and stay in and live a second life, right? As viscerally as technologically possible, right? So ultimately VR, haptics, everything that, only come out for the essentials, right? And so people are hungry for that. People are also just hungry for a really good, in terms of Squadron 42, a really good single player space adventure, right? Mass Effect left a vacuum when Mass Effect
Oh
left the
man,
scene,
yes, yes,
you know.
yes.
So
For me, my answer, I'm coming at it slightly different. People curiosity because word of mouth, and that word of mouth is from the community, and the Star Citizen community is one of the most welcoming and open communities I've ever been a part of. And people may not realize that coming in, but as soon as they do come in, they get to experience it. So I think that's part of it, the community and word of mouth.
yeah, as long as you don't come in and get pad rammed, you might think differently.
Oh yeah, that is that. I haven't been pad ramming in a while because I mean,
You don't jinx yourself. Don't jinx yourself.
no, I'm just saying because most of we have instant hangers now, so it's less chance. But outside of those, yeah, it's still a chance. But yeah, I've been fortunate. We have one more question, and this is from Pop in Space. This
Hey,
will be our last
Pops.
question. Last question. Hey, Pops. I am hungry. I'm a hungry gamer, always hoping for expanding gameplay. Anthem died because of Frostbite 3 engine because it could not expand to handle the gameplay, updates, and new features. Was CIG right in building Star Engine? Ooh, that's a lot to unpack there.
What do you think?
What do I think? Well, a bit of backstory. CIG started with CryEngine. CryEngine had the difficulties, and CIG brought in people who worked on CryEngine into Cloud Imperium Games. So they had, the developers and engineers and stuff like that to make the game better. And then Amazon had Lumberyard, but Lumberyard, I forget what exactly happened. Let's just say it fell through. Even though that's not a complete story, or may not be the most accurate, it seems to have fell through. And then CIG is starting their own thing called Star Engine. So was CIG right in building Star Engine? I would say yes, because they wouldn't be able to get the features and gameplay that they wanted with just the CryEngine or Lumberyard engine, or like vanilla engine that they had. So even though it added years of development, the community voted on it and said that they wanted that. I wouldn't put it that vote, but even if I were, I would have said yes too. So yes, I think CIG was right in building Star Engine. How about you?
Yeah, I would say that I respect Pop's take on it, that Anthem died because of the Frostbite 3 engine, but I don't agree. Um, I agree that the Frostbite 3 engine could not expand the ham on gameplay updates and new features, but Anthem died because of a lack of commitment by EA to support BioWare with whatever tools they needed to make Anthem right? They had a certain upfront investment in Anthem. They thought that that was going to lead to the game. And then when they discovered what type of game they really wanted to make, it was going to require really Frostbite 4. And Frostbite 4 was good enough to give us Battlefield 6. Frostbite 4 is good enough to give us the new version of Skate, right? So Frostbite 4 probably, with some iterations, could have given us the Anthem that we needed, but they did not want to invest anymore in it, in my view, right? And so was CIG right in building Star Engine? I think I believe they are right in the approach that they've taken to building out all of their own tools almost, and having that tool set and that engine um, be built for a purpose. Um, because what we can then expect from Star Engine is that it's accounting for their vision of the game in 2030 and 2036, right? We have to assume, or we have the right to say to CIG, if you took the time to take the branches of Lumberyard and CryEngine and look at this thing and build it out in the direction that you need it for, that you're thinking not just about now, but about the lifetime of the game. And if building out the engine for the lifetime of the game allows them to do things that they would not be able to do with these other engines, and it was the right choice, right? And so we won't know until we're watching fireworks over Terra on the last day of the server in 2046, right? Or whatever it is, or 2056, or whenever and they come to us going, one of Chris Roberts' kids goes, I just announced Star Citizen 2 or
Oh
whatever.
God.
And I say to my kids, that's your turn, that's your investment, right? We won't be able to answer that question until way down the road. And I think it's way down the road past 1.0. But if I had to answer it now, I'd say they absolutely did the right thing.
Yeah, I might have gotten my history wrong when it came to London Yard, so that's my fault. For me, it feels like I haven't heard anything about Lumberyard, so that's why it feels like it fell through. So if that's not the case, I apologize. We do have one last minute question. Quickly, Quantum Vegas 2956 win. We don't know.
The
There's
quantum experience relies on a variety of things, and so when we have an update, we will share it.
Yeah, thank you. That's what I was trying to get out. You said it infinitely more better than I did. Yeah, more better. I said it. Anyway,
Mo better.
more better. All right, then. SeriousFun, you have any shout out of what you're doing? Like, I know you have your own channel and stuff like that. You have any shout outs you want to talk about?
Well, yeah, I am appreciative of the fact that folks on YouTube, my channel on YouTube, have taken it over 1,000
Ooh,
subscribers. Thank
congratulations.
you very much for that. Um, And our last major video was on the star-studded nature of Squadron 42, so just be sure to check that out. But really, you can find me here, right, as a co-executive producer along with Fastcart and Griff of the Soul Citizens. This is my community, and I'm excited to be here.
Thank you for that. And next week, our next show is going to be called Squadron 42 Revisited. Don't pay attention to the time. It'll be 7 p.m. We'll return into our 7 p.m. slot. But, we'll talk about we're revisiting Squadron 42 just in time for who knows whatever Squadron 42 marketing will kick off. But, yeah, just before that. So, yeah, look forward to that episode. That'll be March 15th. We're ready to add the March, 7 p.m. Eastern. So stay tuned for that. I want to say thank you for everyone who's watching. I didn't give people a shout out in chat, but by the time I thought about it, there was like 40 people in there, so that was taking too long. But you want to support us, you become a Soul Bro, Soul Sis, Soul Soulmate, Soul Citizen membership, have your privileges. You can click the join button on YouTube. You can follow us on social media with Soul Citizens with the S on the end everywhere. If you want to support us, you can buy a merchandise. And if you really want to support us, make sure you hit like, subscribe, and follow depending on what platform you're on. And we are going to raid Old Man Observer. Old Man Observer. I have not heard of this person, so make sure you send them our love from Soul Citizen. Let me get that thing started. One moment while I type that in. That go through? Yeah, it went through. Yay. So yeah, we're gonna
Yay.
raid Old Man Observer. So make sure you
Tell them it's a soul raid. Let them know.
Soul raid, yes. So thank you everybody. See you next time. Peace, love, and soul.